What up YouTube, and welcome back collectors. It's Patrick, also known as Cardboard P, back with another video. In today's video, as you can see, my case is empty, and that means we'll be going over every graded card in my personal collection. This will be a little bit of a longer video, but I'm excited to showcase all the cards I love so I can look back on it in the future. Collecting cards is truly a passion of mine, and these cards mean the world to me. I feel very blessed to own every card in my collection, and I really hope you enjoy all of my cards and the stories behind them. Collecting has been such a rewarding hobby for me, and I hope everyone finds something in life that makes them as happy as this shiny cardboard makes me. My collection right now at the beginning of 2025 is 83 cards total, if I counted correctly, and consists of Pokemon cards as well as Star Wars Galaxy cards graded mainly by CGC. I've separated them into sections we'll go through. We'll start with modern and sentimental cards, move into Star Wars, and then we'll move into vintage and end with some of my grails and favorites. Pokemon has been a huge part of my life, and I'm not sure where I'd be without it. And before we move into the slabs, I have 3 items I wanted to showcase. The first item I wanted to showcase is a Pikachu illustration rare from 151. I pulled this card myself, and during my trip to Collecticon, I was lucky enough to meet Veronica Taylor, who's the original voice of Ash Ketchum, and I got her autograph on this card. I have lots of fond memories watching the original anime and the movies, so it was incredible to meet the voice behind Ash and one of my childhood heroes. I didn't get this card graded, but I have it in a nice magnetic card holder, and I just thought this was a cool piece I'd like to show off before we move into the slabs. The next item we have here is a Christmas gift from my incredible girlfriend, a vintage Japanese Jungle booster pack. This vintage pack has a guaranteed holo in it, and eventually I want to open a Japanese pack from Jungle through Neo Destiny because this era of cards is very nostalgic for me. This will be the first vintage pack that I open, and I plan to open it in the next few weeks, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see what's in this pack. And another pack I'm planning on opening in 2025 is this vintage Japanese Neo Genesis Gold Silver to a New World booster pack. I'm looking to open this one and see if we can pull that Lugia in it, but otherwise all of the cards from this era are very nostalgic to me, and I'm very fortunate that I'm able to own this pack, and I'm looking forward to opening it and see what's inside so we can add another card to my personal collection. And as you'll see, I don't necessarily care about value, and I care more about the artwork and the stories behind my cards. So without further ado, let's clear the setup and get into these slabs. As we kick off this video, I got back into collecting cards in 2019, and I've been collecting on again and off again for the past 6 years, and these are all the cards that I've accumulated over that time. This one is the first big pull that I ever had, and it's none other than the Test Tube Mewtwo GX from Shining Legends. This one is a PSA graded card, one of the 2 PSA graded cards in my collection, and it got the Near Mint Mint 8. It's pretty off-center on the front, but there's a lot of quality control with this era of cards. But a story about this one is when I got back into collecting cards, I would just go pick up some packs every Friday, and the packs were abundant. I actually used to get 6 Shining Legends packs. They would be saran wrapped together at some of the collection boxes for $15, if you can believe that. And I picked up a bunch of them. I should have bought more. There were sets like Team Up and Cosmic Eclipse, but I really liked this Test Tube Mewtwo, so I was chasing after that, and I eventually did pull it while I was on FaceTime with my brother and decided to get it graded. But this is one of my favorite cards in my collection, and one of the cards that really got me back into the hobby. Has a Mitsuhiro Arita artwork on it, and just a classic artwork. And it's been making a little bit of a jump in value recently, but such a cool card, and I'm very happy to own that. The second card we have here is another PSA graded card. This is a Amazing Rare Rayquaza from Vivid Voltage. This got the Mint 9. I had such a fun time opening Vivid Voltage, and I did collect all of the Amazing Rares, and I got them all graded with PSA. I ended up keeping the Rayquaza, and the rest of them I gave one to my mom, my dad, my brother, sister, and my girlfriend. So we all have one of the group, and that way every time they look at that card, or vice versa, every time I look at this card, I can always think of them, or they can think of me. And it's nice that wherever we are in the world, whenever we look at this card, we're all still connected. So this is one of my very sentimental cards in my collection. Moving into the next card, this is a Shining Rayquaza from Shining Legends. This one got the Mint 9. This is actually the first card that my girlfriend ever purchased for me, so I'm very fortunate to have a loving girlfriend who supports my hobby, and Rayquaza is one of my favorite Pokemon, so I was very happy when she got this card for me, and this one will stay in my collection till the end of time. And the next two cards we have here are two that if you saw Share the Slab, you know what they are. These are my two childhood cards that were the only two remaining. We have the Reverse Holo from EX Deoxys, the Deoxys. This one got an excellent to near mint 6. And then the hit in the pack was the Crobat EX. This one got a near mint 8. I found these on a recent trip home. The Deoxys was in my room and the Crobat was in my brother's, so we must have split a pack growing up. But these are some really cool cards and the only ones that stood the test of time from my childhood collection. The next card we have here is one of the only trainer cards in my collection. This is Steven Stone. This is from Ancient Origins and it got a mint 9. This is one of my favorite trainers of all time. Gen 3 is my favorite generation of Pokemon. It's what I grew up playing the games and collecting the cards, but I think this is a super cool ode to one of my favorite generations and one of my favorite trainers, Steven Stone. And keeping on brand with Generation 3, we have the Blaziken V character rare from Silver Tempest. This one got the mint 9. This is a really cool card. I picked this up at a local card shop with my dad. We walked in and this was 15 or 20 bucks, so we decided to pick it up, and I really like this one. It has May and my favorite starter Blaziken on it. And also from Silver Tempest, we have the Blaziken VMAX character rare. This one got the Gem Mint 10, and I was lucky enough to pull this one myself. Super cool artwork, and like I said, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, from one of my favorite games of all time, Pokemon Emerald. Then, remaining with Gen 3, we have the Altaria EX Special Illustration Rare from Paradox Rift. This one got the Gem Mint 10. Super cool artwork on this one. I think this is a very underrated card. And I did catch the shiny Swablu in my copy of Sapphire, so I have the shiny Blaziken and the shiny Swablu. So I'm trying to complete a dream team currently, and we have 2 of the 6. And the last card in this first stack is another Gen 3 Pokemon. We got the Medicham V from Evolving Skies in a pristine 10. This is a super cool artwork. I think it's very underrated. Medicham is one of my favorite Gen 3 Pokemon. And we got the Plusle, and I think it's very funny that all these little purple dots are all Medicham doing yoga. But I think this is a very cool card. I picked this one up raw at Collecticon and graded it myself, and it came back a pristine 10, and I couldn't be more happy. Moving into our next stack here, we got the Skuntank V from Silver Tempest alternate art. This one got the Gem Mint 10. This card is pretty sentimental to me because this past year my brother and sister surprised me for my birthday and came and visited, and we hit the local card shop as a fun activity, and we picked up an Elite Trainer box of Silver Tempest, and this was our best hit out of it. So I had such a fun time on that trip, and every time I look at this card it reminds me of when they were here visiting. So a very sentimental card in my collection. I think this one has a really neat artwork, so I'll be keeping that one as well. And the next one is another Silver Tempest alternate art. This is the Unknown V. I actually pulled this one myself, and it did pull the Gem Mint 10. I'm trying to get one alternate art and one special illustration rare from every Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet set. So I have a few multiples for some sets, and those are cards I'm just kind of hanging on to if I pull, so I can take them to card shows to trade with for some more high value items. So this I may get rid of in the future, but for now, I think it's a very cool artwork with it spelling out a victory symbol with the unknown. But a very cool card, and I'm happy that I pulled that. Next card here is the alternate art from Astral Radiance Beedrill V in a Gem Mint 10. I just think this card has some incredible colors. I picked this up at a local card shop and I decided to grade it, and it came back a Gem Mint 10. But I think this is a super cool card for my personal collection, my favorite card out of Astral Radiance. Next card here is a pull from Shrouded Fable. This is the Fezandipiti EX. This one got a mint 9. I opened up some Shrouded Fable looking for some of the good promos from those boxes and ended up pulling this. So this checked off the special illustration rare from Shrouded Fable. So I was happy to add that one to the collection as well. Moving into our next card is from Twilight Masquerade, a Scarlet and Violet set that was not too nice to me. We have the Heart Flame Mask Ogerpon EX in a Gem Mint 10. I just thought this one was really cool. It has some really neat texture. And I did not pull the Greninja. I tried for a while, and then I decided I didn't love that card enough to be spending so much money on packs, so I decided to pick up my second favorite card from the set, which is this Hearth Flame Mask Ogerpon, to add to our collection. Our next card here is from Stellar Crown, the Hydrapple EX Special Illustration Rare. This one also pulled the Gem Mint 10. I just think this one has a very unique artwork on it. It looks almost like hieroglyphics or cave drawings. And like I said, the Special Illustration Rares, they're very hard to pull, and they have some really cool sparkle and texture on them. But I don't have any other card in my collection that has this type of art style or these colors, so I decided to keep this one for my collection. And the next card here we have is a Chi-Yu EX from Paldea Evolved in a Gem Mint 10. This card I decided to keep from Paldea Evolved because it's one of my favorite modern artists, Akira Igawa. They have a very cool art style, and I just think this is a super beautiful card. I like all the texture on it if I can get it to pick up on camera, but just very cool colors and a very cool card, so I decided to keep that one for my collection. Then remaining on theme with Akira Igawa, we have the Arceus V-Star from Crown Zenith in a Mint 9. I didn't open too much Crown Zenith, but when I did, this was one of the big pulls that I got, one of the only big pulls. I got it from a collection box, and if I can pick it up, it has some very, very cool texture on it. And just a very neat artwork. You can kind of see the similarities between this art style and the Chi-Yu, because Akira Igawa is very talented. Then our next card here is another very talented artist. We have Tomokazu Kamiya on the Galarian Slowking V from Chilling Reign in a Gem Mint 10. This is a very cool alternate art. I think it has some beautiful colors, and Tomokazu Kamiya has some phenomenal artworks. I suggest Googling him if you have not seen his artworks already, but his art style is super cool and unique, but very beautiful colors on this one, and happy to add that one to our collection as well. The final card in this stack is from Temporal Forces. This is the Bianca's Devotion Special Illustration Rare in a Gem Mint 10. My mom actually was the one to pull this card, so I decided to get it graded. This is my second and one of the two only trainers in my collection, but we opened Temporal Forces when they came to visit hunting for the Iron Crown, which is one of my favorite cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. And then my mom packed this, so it was super fun. This card always reminds me of their visit and how much fun we had ripping packs. And I'm very fortunate to have such supportive parents of my hobby, so I decided to slab this one up and commemorate that little pack ripping expedition we had while they visited. And we'll move in with our second two stacks of the modern and sentimental cards. Before we head into our Star Wars cards, we have the first one, the Great Tusk EX from Scarlet and Violet base. This one did pull the Pristine 10. I think this card has some very cool colors on it, and I think it's very undervalued. You can get it for just about the same amount as buying a pack of cards, and the pull rates on these are very hard, so I decided to pick up a lot of these special illustration rares while I can, while they're relatively low value, because there's a lot of room to grow in the future. But I really like the texture on the Sand Tornado, and I think it's really cool that Donphan got a future and a ancient form. Next card we have here is another gift from my girlfriend. She got me this for my birthday this past year. It's the Mew V alternate art from Fusion Strike in a Gem Mint 10. I really like this artwork. I think it's super cute. Shows off the speed of Mew, and I do like this one a little bit more than the VMAX alternate art from Fusion Strike, so I'm very fortunate that she picked this one up for me for my birthday this year, and a very great card to add to my collection. The next card we have here is one from Battle Styles. This is the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX in a Gem Mint 10 alternate art. The Battle Styles was the start of the alternate art craze in the Sword and Shield era, and everybody really likes the Sleeping Tyranitar, but I just think this card has some crazy colors, and I really like the VMAX alternate art. They have that sparkle that's pretty similar to the special illustration rare sparkle, but I think this is such a beautiful card, and I was happy to add that one to my collection as well. The next card we got here is from Breakpoint, XY Breakpoint. It's the Gyarados EX in a mint 9. This is a super undervalued card in my opinion, illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita, a shiny Gyarados. This is around $100 in a 9 right now, and even less if you buy a near mint copy raw. But I think this is one of the original alternate arts before they were even called that. They used to just refer to them as secret rares, but I think this Gyarados is a super cool pickup. It has Greninja and I think Phione or Manaphy on the side, but a very cool card. And then another older alternate art is this Alakazam EX from Fates Collide. This is also illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita, and this one also got the mint 9. The quality control was a little bit worse back in the XY era, so some of these cards are harder to grade, but I think this card is very great. It has the Alakazam as well as Umbreon and Lugia, and just the texture on it and the colors are super cool. And you get one of the original Pokemon card artists, Mitsuhiro Arita. And once again, this one's only around $100 at the time of recording this video. So I decided to pick it up, and I thought it was a super nice card and has a lot of room to grow in value in the future. Our next card here is from Scarlet and Violet 151. We have the Zapdos EX in a Gem Mint 10. I picked this card up raw. This is probably one of my favorite special illustration rares from that set. It just reminds me of the movie with Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno on it. I think this is a beautiful artwork, so I was happy to add this one to the collection as well. And our next card here is a card from Crown Zenith. So that one was the second movie. This one is the third movie. This is the Entei V in a pristine 10. It's got the color match gold graded guard on it. I thought it looked very nice with this pristine 10 label. So shout out Graded Guard if you want to sponsor me. I love blinging out my slabs with your cases. But I think this card is a super unique artwork and my favorite of the 3 legendary dogs. One of my favorite legendaries in general, the Entei V. I was very happy to get this one in a pristine 10. We got another pristine from Crown Zenith. Like I said, this one I may let go of in the future if I come across a card at a card show or anything that I like a little bit more. But this is the Darkrai V-Star in a pristine 10 from Crown Zenith. Very beautiful artwork, some crazy texture. I really like that door if you can pick that up. Very, very cool card. I picked this up raw from Minimal Cards, submitted it myself, and it pulled the pristine, so I decided I'll just hang on to it. I think this card will do pretty well long term if I ever decide to get rid of it. And then our last card in that stack is the Aerodactyl V. This one got a mint 9. I pulled this myself from a 3-pack I got from Walmart. That was a repack from MJ Holdings. I think this has a very Jurassic Park-esque artwork on it. It's pretty off-center, which is why I got the 9, but I cannot be mad. I don't necessarily care about the grade it gets. I just love having my cards slapped up and protected, and this is a card that I pulled myself, so I couldn't be more happy to have this in my collection. Moving into the second stack, we got a new back Japanese card, and it is the Shibuya's Pikachu in a Gem Mint 10. This card is a Japanese promo that commemorated the Pokemon Center opening in Shibuya. I thought this had a very cool artwork, and my dad picked this out for me for Christmas this year, so I'm very thankful that he picked out a very cool Gem Mint 10. I couldn't be more happy with this card, and I'm very thankful that he's involved in my hobbies and supports me. But I really like the graffiti on the back, and I think Japanese promos, I have a few more Japanese cards we'll get into later, are some of the coolest in the hobby, and I can't wait to pick up more from my collection. Next card is another pristine. This is the Gardevoir EX from Paldean Fates. I graded this myself. I picked it up for around $45, and at this point in time, I'm just waiting for this card to grow a little bit more. I think this is undervalued at the time. The Mew's going for like $270. The Charizard's like $160, I think, last time I checked, and this is still only at like $75. It was $45 when I picked it up, but I think this has a super cool artwork on it. I really like the Wooper. Very nice texture, but this card I'm going to hold on to for a little bit longer. I think it's a beautiful artwork, and I think it's undervalued. The next card here is from Scarlet and Violet 151. This is the Blastoise EX Special Illustration Rare. Another Mitsuhiro Arita artwork. This one pulled the Gem Mint 10. I was lucky enough one time to find a Elite Trainer box at my local Barnes & Noble, so I decided to pick it up, and I pulled this as well as the Pikachu that I got signed by Veronica Taylor. But very fortunate to pull such a cool special illustration rare and add it to my collection. Next card we got here is another Silver Tempest. I think Silver Tempest is such a great set. We have the Rayquaza VMAX character rare in a pristine 10 with the color matched Oxley graded guard. I think the colors on this card are super awesome. Just a beautiful card overall and one of my favorite Pokemon. Can never get enough of Rayquaza. Pokemon Emerald is one of my favorite video games of all time, and every time I see Rayquaza it reminds me of being a kid and running into him in the Sky Pillar and beating the game, and super fond memories of that time in my life. Next card here is another pristine, and this is my favorite promo card from the Scarlet and Violet era, the Kingdra EX. This is such a beautiful card. I think if this was not a promo and one of these special illustration rares, that this would fetch a pretty penny, but I do have two of these. I was lucky enough to grade 2 pristine 10, so I do have one of them for sale, which is on my Instagram, which is linked in the description. If you want to see some close-up pictures of any of my cards, connect with me, or show off any of your cards, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, but I think this is a super cool, looks like the Japanese Great Wave inspired artwork. Very cool Pokemon. I really like the Kingdra, Horsey, Seadra line. And our next card here is from Black and White base set. This is the Pikachu secret rare in a mint 9. This actually is a shiny version, and on the bottom you can see this Thunderbolt, but the Pikachu on this card is hollow, and it's a shiny version, which I think these Black and White secret rares are pretty underrated. Not many people talk about them, but I saw this at a local card shop and I had some store credit, so I decided to pick it up. And I'm very happy with my purchase, and I'm glad that it got the 9. A super cool Pikachu card from my collection. And the last of the modern cards before we move into the Star Wars is the Iron Crown EX Special Illustration Rare. This one has a slab mag because I thought it looked really cool with the color match, and this one got the Gem Mint 10. So when my parents were visiting and we were opening a bunch of Temporal Forces, we didn't pull this card, but with what we pulled, we traded it in at that card shop, and I ended up picking it up raw, and then it ended up grading a 10. So I'm super happy. I love the Cherry Blossoms. I just think this is a gorgeous card. Iron Crown and Cobalion are not my favorite Pokemon, but I just think this is a beautiful card overall. So before we move into my vintage cards and some of my higher value alt arts, I wanted to showcase some of my Star Wars Galaxy cards. This first one is numbered to 150 from a 2022 Galaxy. This is the Atomic Refractor of the Shadow of the Dark Lord in a pristine 10. I thought this one had a super cool artwork on it with Luke, Darth Vader, X-Wing, the Death Star. Just looks raw with the Atomic Refractor, so I decided to pick this one up on eBay. And the next card we have here is number 299, and it is Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that's because it goes with the Star Wars Battlefront. I have the pair in mint 9. I got them both numbered to 99 in the green refractor because I grew up playing these games with my brother on our Xbox, so I thought this was a cool way to commemorate that. Very cool cards. They're from the Gameplay Galaxy subset. And the rest of the cards are pulls, so I opened one box of 2022 Galaxy and I pulled this Atomic Refractor numbered to 150 of a Wookiee in the Wilderness. This one pulled the Gem Mint 10, but I think the Atomic Refractor looks super sick on this, and I had the Nerf version of that crossbow growing up, so I decided to get this one graded. Then from 2023 Galaxy, I pulled the Diabolic Duo Aqua Refractor. This one is numbered to 199, and this one pulled the Gem Mint 10. Very cool card. It has Darth Vader as well as Boba Fett, and then right before they go and get Han on Cloud City. I thought that was a very cool card. Our next one here is the Boba Fett Galactic Vision subset in a Gem Mint 10. This one's a purple refractor, numbered to 50. I thought this was cool. It looked like almost a anime Japanese style artwork intake on Boba Fett, so I thought that was a cool card to get graded. And one of my favorite pulls from one of my favorite movies is Predator and Prey Orange Refractor, numbered to 25. This is Luke on the Tauntaun on Hoth. So this is from Empire Strikes Back, one of my favorite movies. This one pulled the Gem Mint 10, and I'm super fortunate that I pulled such a low numbered card of such a cool scene from one of my favorite movies, so I decided to get that graded. And then from my first ever box of 2023 Galaxy, I did pull a Superfractor, and that Superfractor is Attack on Takodana. This is from the 7th movie, so this one is a 1 of 1, the only one in existence. Super cool artwork, super cool texture, but it has Finn fighting a trooper as well as Old Han and Chewie, but this one pulled the Gem Mint 10. Super awesome that I own this card. I think this is a piece of history. Not many people like the sequel movies, but I thought they were pretty good, and this is such an iconic scene from what I think is the best of the sequel movies. So I really like this card. When I went to Collect-A-Con, somebody offered me $1,500 for it, and I turned it down. I just think this is such a cool card, regardless of price. I'm the only one that owns this one. I think that's really neat. We'll go ahead and move into my vintage cards. We'll kick it off. I think everybody knows what this first one is. This is the Ancient Mew promo from Pokemon the Movie 2000s. This one got the Near Mint Mint Plus 8.5. It does have 2 swirls. There's one down here, and then there's one right up at the top. This is such an iconic promo card, and I think it's such a cool looking, unique piece. There were a lot printed, so if you'd like to pick this card up, it's not too expensive, especially in these lower grades. Then the next card is an old back Japanese card. And this is the base set Raichu. This came out in 1996. This card is older than I am, but this got a Mint 9, and it has a super nice swirl right on the top. But a Ken Sugimori artwork. In English, I have base set through Legendary Collection, a card from each of that set graded, so I want to do the same with Japanese. Base set has a 50% chance of a holo, so I didn't want to pay hundreds of dollars for a light pack. So I decided to pick this card up, and then I'm hoping to open a pack of Jungle through Neo Destiny so I can pull one card from each set. But this is a super cool card in my collection. Then moving into English base set, we have Nidoking. This one is shadowless, and it's a Mint 9. Another Ken Sugimori artwork. He is probably my favorite artist. His cards just hold so much nostalgia for me, and every time I look back on this era of Pokemon, just his cards speak to me. I just love his artwork and his art style. But this is my shadowless Nidoking. Then moving on to Jungle, we have the Snorlax in a Near Mint Mint Plus 8.5. And the cool thing about this card is it is actually the no set symbol error. So there was a print run of these where they didn't add the Jungle stamp, so it kind of looks like a base set card. But this is another Ken Sugimori artwork, the Snorlax from Jungle, just an iconic card and an iconic Pokemon. Always reminds me a little bit of my brother, but super cool artwork on this one. Moving into Fossil, we have the Moltres. This is a Gem Mint 10. This card is a non-holo, but I did pull this on my channel. When I celebrated 100 subscribers on YouTube, I opened a Fossil pack. Ended up not getting a holo, which is alright, but I decided to grade this one and it pulled the Gem Mint 10. So I really like this card, a little bit more of a sentimental vintage card in my collection. The next card we have here is from base set 2. This is another Near Mint Mint Plus 8.5, but this is the Mewtwo. And my favorite part about base set 2 on is there's the chance at swirls on all these cards, so this one has a very nice swirl. And to be honest, I think the swirls add a lot of value to the card. It makes them almost a 1 of 1, but beautiful holo pattern on this one, a very nice swirl. So I decided to pick up the Mewtwo. Looks like he's almost conjuring up a Shadow Ball. Then from Team Rocket, we have a very iconic card, the Dark Dragonite in a Mint 9. In this one, it does have a hidden swirl right behind his wing, but this one's a Mitsuhiro Arita artwork and a very iconic card. So I picked it up in a Mint 9. Really, really love this Dragonite, one of my favorite Pokemon. It also has a very nice big orb right at the top. But I really do like the chance at swirls, so every card that has the ability to get a swirl, I try to pick one up with a swirl on it, just because I think it adds a little bit more uniqueness to my collection. And the next card we have from Gym Heroes is the Rocket Scyther. This one got the Mint 9.5. This one also has a very nice swirl on the left side of the card. Another Ken Sugimori artwork, but very happy with this one. Scyther's such a cool grass type Pokemon. Moving into this stack, This is one of my favorite cards in my collection and one of the best swirls I have, but this is the Misty's Golduck first edition and a Mint Plus 9.5 from Gym Challenge. It almost has a double swirl, and depending on how you angle the card, it almost looks like he's spitting the swirl out. But I love this card. This is probably one of my top 3 Ken Sugimori artworks. I just love the pose, the colors, the background. This is an incredible card and one of my favorite ones in my collection. I can't get enough of that swirl. It does have a few print lines over by his elbow, but overall this is such a beautiful card. And I'm just going to show it off a little bit longer just because I love this one so much. And then we'll move on to the next card. This one is from Neo Genesis. This is my Slowking in a Mint 9. This one, he's standing on business. He's standing on the swirl. But this one's hard to get in a high grade because there's a lot of hollow pattern and you're pretty prone to print lines. I can kind of show them off a little bit there, but very cool artwork. This reminds me of Pokemon the movie 2000, so I decided to pick this one up, and there's a chance at pulling a Japanese version in that Neo Genesis pack I'm planning on opening up later this year. To our next card. This one's from Neo Discovery. We have the Espeon in a near mint, Mint Plus 8.5, and this one has a swirl right by the head. A little bit of a half swirl, but super beautiful artwork on this one by Nishida. Very cool artwork, and this is my favorite evolution, so I decided to pick up the Espeon. It's got pretty nice swirl right by the head. This was one of the harder cards to find a swirl on for me, and one of the final ones from me to get from base set to Legendary Collection. This was one of the last pieces I needed. Moving into our next card from Neo Revelation, one of my favorite sets of all time. This is the Entei in a near mint, Mint Plus 8.5. This one has a nice swirl up top, but another Ken Sugimori artwork, and this is the rookie card for Entei, my favorite of the legendary dogs and one of my favorite Pokemon. So I really like this card. I think it has a super cool hollow pattern on it, a very clean copy, and like I said, I think the swirls on these cards are amazing. So whenever I see a card that has a swirl, I try to pick it up if I don't have it, and I need it for my collection, but I think this is a super neat one. And then sticking with Neo Revelation, we have the Misdreavus in a near mint, Mint 8, but this is a cool one because it is the double hollow error. And if you don't know what that is, in Neo Revelation there was a print one where they had 2 layers of hollow, and this is my favorite card that has this error because if you see the eyes on it are usually not hollow, but with this error it has the hollow eyes. So this card has a nice swirl. I picked this up. I don't think the seller knew it was double hollow back when I picked this up because I think I paid like $35 or $40 for it at the time. But a beautiful card, and I think a super cool error. Very interesting if you want to look up more on the double hollow. There's some very cool ones, like the Ho-Oh is a very cool version of the double hollow. And then from Neo Destiny, I have the Light Dragonite in a Mint 9, and this one has a very perfect swirl if you can see down in the bottom corner. Let's see if I can get it up close. But just right in the bottom corner, but this is another Nishida artwork, a very, very cool version of Dragonite. And then I have the light and the dark, so it's like Star Wars. I got the light side and the dark side. So let me know in the comments which of these two is your favorite, if you like the dark Dragonite from Team Rocket or the light Dragonite from Neo Destiny. I'd love to see which one's everyone's favorite. I think the dark Dragonite is a little bit more iconic, but I do like the artwork on this one a little bit more. And then rounding out the vintage cards, we have from Legendary Collection, one of my favorite artworks. This is the Pidgeot Reverse Hollow in a Mint 9. These Legendary Collection Reverse Hollows are super cool with that awesome fireworks pattern. I could sit here and stare at this card for hours. It just looks incredible. Almost thought they were fake when I was growing up, but I did have a bunch of these. I always regret giving my cards away because I never knew what was in there, but there are a few cards I remember. But this Pidgeot by Kagamaru Himeno, she is an incredible artist. If you have not looked up her artwork either, one of my favorite artworks. This is from Jungle, but I got it in the Legendary Collection Reverse. We got some more cards here. These are some of my higher ender cards I just have a lot of memories pulling. The first one is going to be the Rainbow Pikachu VMAX from Vivid Voltage. This card is an old label CGC. It's a mint 9 with subgrades. Pretty clean except for the centering, which I don't think is too terrible, but it did pull the 9. This card is the sole reason I cannot keep a sealed collection. I bought 4 of the Check Lane blisters, so I had an art set of Vivid Voltage and decided to start a sealed collection. Ended up ripping them months later, and this card was in there so I decided to not keep a sealed collection because I enjoy the cards. I like ripping packs and I like knowing what's inside. So all the vintage packs I pick up, I will definitely be opening. And this is a huge pull and a very fond memory. I had such a fun time hunting the Rainbow Pikachu. The next card was a 1-pack Magic from Evolutions. This is the Charizard Holo from Evolutions in a mint 9. This is a reprint of the base set Charizard by Mitsuhiro Arita. This one does have some pretty strong subgrades, but back when I got back into collecting, Evolutions was plentiful, and you could get a pack pretty much in almost every tin back then. And finally, I was able to pull this card. I got 1 pack of Evolutions, and this was in it, so very happy I was able to pull this one, and a super cool artwork on that one. And the next card we have here is another Akira Igawa artwork. This card jumped up a lot in value. We have the Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames in a pristine 10, the new gen Crystal Charizard. I picked this card up for $45. The last sale in a pristine 10 was $775, which is insane. I am planning on holding onto this card just because I really like the artwork. I like this one a little bit more than the Paldean Fates shiny Charizard, and just the Charizard VMAX and Sword and Shield weren't my favorite, so I really like this card, so I decided to hold on to this one as my special illustration rare from that set. The next card here is the Dragonite V from Evolving Skies. This one pulled the Gem Mint 10. Back when Evolving Skies came out, I had pre-ordered a booster box for $90. Looking back, I should have pre-ordered a lot more, just because this is a crazy set, but I didn't think it would shoot up in value like it did. I pulled this out of my first box, and it was one of my biggest chase cards. I think it's super cool artwork and has some incredible texture on this alternate art. But I was very happy to pull this on my first rip of Evolving Skies. I think that video is still on YouTube, back on my channel when I was Skeez's Archive, but a very great pull and one of my favorite Pokemon, Dragonite, and so I had to keep this in the personal collection. The next card we have here is from Silver Tempest. This is the Lugia V alternate art in a Gem Mint 10. I think this is an incredible artwork. I picked this one up at Collecticon. I traded my shiny Charizard VMAX from Shining Fates in it. So I traded that card and a little bit of cash and picked this card up, and I like this card a lot more instead of the fat Charizard, but a beautiful artwork on this one, and I'm happy to add this one into the collection as well. Just trying to get a few close-ups here of some of these higher value cards because the texture on them, the camera doesn't do it justice. I tried to record this in as highest quality I could, but they still look a lot better in hand. The next card we have here is a very special one. This is the Espeon VMAX in a Gem Mint 10 from Fusion Strike, the alternate art. And this card's so special to me because this is my cat's card. This is the Stinky card. My cat Palu brings so much joy to my life, so when I was at Collecticon, I picked this card up for her because she's always like Espeon. She's actually sleeping right behind me while I'm recording this video, but I'll see if I can pop a picture on the screen, but she looks exactly like the Espeon. My best friend. I'm very fortunate to have her, and so I decided to give her this card. Every time I look at her, it reminds me of my cat Palu. And to go with that Espeon, we have the Umbreon. This one got the near mint plus 8.5. Not sure why. I cracked it and resubmitted it. I really don't see anything wrong with this card. But I pulled this myself. I pulled it in the same video with the Glaceon VMAX. I actually sold that card, but back when I pulled this card, it was around $200, and now it's very, very expensive and one of the most popular modern cards, so I'm very fortunate that I got it in a pack. I don't necessarily care that it's an 8.5. I could probably resubmit it or cross it over, maybe get a higher score, but I don't care too much. I just am happy to have it slapped up and in my collection, and I'm very happy that I was able to pull one of the main chase cards of the modern era on video, and that video is also on my YouTube channel. And another pull from Evolving Skies. This is my favorite evolution from Evolving Skies. We have the Sylveon VMAX alternate art and a Gem Mint 10. I think this card is awesome. I love all of the cameos. We got the Marshadow sliding, the Eevee, another Eevee, the Flabebe, and then that's my favorite Eevee right up top. And we got the Kangaskhan back there, can't forget them. But I think this is a beautiful card. I pulled this, I got a gift card and bought a collection box with it. And it's a very meaningful card to me, but I think it's a beautiful artwork, and I just love the colors on this one. And my favorite card from Evolving Skies is the Rayquaza V, so I decided to pick this up. I also picked this up at Collecticon in a pristine 10. This card is incredible to me. It reminds me of the Dark Charizard Ken Sugimori artwork from Team Rocket, how it's a little bit of a backwards angle, but I like the Whismur and Zinnia. I was chasing this card for a very long time and never pulled it, so I decided to save my money instead of spending $15 a pack and pick it up. And I'm very happy I own this card. This one is definitely staying with me till the end of time. And my favorite alternate art that I own is the Blaziken VMAX in a pristine 10. I have the rainbow graded guard on it. The color match on this is perfect. It goes from red, like the Blaziken, to this greenish yellow, like the background, down to a blue. So I think this card looks beautiful in the graded guard, but I love the special illustration rare sparkle. Very cool card. The knocked out Zangoose. Just my favorite generation 3. I still play Sapphire nearly every day shiny hunting, so I do have a shiny Blaziken, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I just love this card so much, and I'm very happy that I own it. And one of my more expensive cards, the Mew EX Special Illustration Rare from Paldean Fates. This one pulled a pristine 10. I'm very happy I bought this card when I did because I picked it up when it was $80. I had store credit that I traded a bunch of my bulk cards for, so I decided to pick this up because it's my favorite card in the Scarlet and Violet era, and I had pulled the Charizard, but I was like, next time I see the Mew, I'm just going to pick it up because I really do like this card. And this card I bought for $80, graded it, came back a pristine, and the last sale I think was $998, so $80 to $1,000 just because I thought the card was neat. But like I said, I don't necessarily care about the value, it's just an added plus. This is a super cool card and one of the crown jewels in my collection. And with that, we'll move into the final 2 stacks of my grails. The first stack, we'll kick it off with the Kingdra from Aquapolis in a Near Mint 8. The e-reader cards I don't have as much nostalgia for, but I do really like the Horsey, Seadra, Kingdra line, so I picked this card up on a whim in Collecticon. The crystal cards are super cool. I think the hollow pattern on them is awesome. This one doesn't have a swirl on it, unfortunately, but this is a card that I definitely want to hang on to, but when something in the future pops up that I want a little bit more, this may get traded, but I'm very fortunate that I get to own it right now. I think it's a beautiful card. A little bit futuristic for the time. This came out in 2003, so they're starting all the CGI artworks, but a beautiful card. Then the next card we have here is the Shining Celebi from Neo Destiny. This one's in a Near Mint 8. Another card that I picked up at Collecticon. I think these cards are super cool. This one's also in a slab mag, but I really like that the Pokemon itself is hollow and textured rather than the background of the card. And the Shining cards are some that I have the most nostalgia for, so I picked this one up at Collecticon. And that leads us into the next section, which is one of the crown jewels in my collection, the Ken Sugimori Shining Collection. I did recently complete it this year, so the first one up is the Shining Tyranitar in a Near Mint Mint Plus 8.5. This card was super hard to come across, but a beautiful artwork, such a classic. See if I can, yeah, there it is. Shining Tyranitar, summoning the gods. Super cool card. This was the last Shining that I did pick up. This was the hardest one for me to find, so I found one for an 8.5. That was a reasonable deal. I was hoping to get it in a 9, but if a 9 pops up, I might have to trade this one up. But until then, this one's staying in my collection. I think this is a beautiful card and one of my favorites in my collection. The next Ken Sugimori Shining we have is the Shining Steelix. It's a little bit hard to see them with these slab mags on it, but beautiful texture on this one. Another classic Ken Sugimori artwork, and just a beautiful card overall. This one has the mint 9, so I'm very happy with this card. Just some of my favorite. I have so much nostalgia for the shiny Pokemon. I still shiny hunt Sapphire nearly every day, and I just love these shiny Pokemon. And then my favorite Shining from Neo Destiny is the Shining Noctowl, which I did pick up in a Gem Mint 10 this year. I just think this is a perfect card. One of the most beautiful, one of my favorite ones in my collection. I just think the reflection on him is awesome. Reminds me of the anime where Ash had the shiny Noctowl, but this one I got in a Gem Mint 10. Probably one of my favorite Shinings out of Neo Destiny. Just a beautiful card overall. So happy that this one got the 10. Very clean card. And then that leads us into the next two. This was another Collecticon pickup. This one is a Shining Magikarp. This one's first edition, and it's a 7.5. Pretty much every card besides my childhood Deoxys and this card and the next one are 8 and above, but I picked this one up just because the next one I will show is also a 7.5, but this one has a hidden swirl if I can pick it up behind the Magikarp. Kind of hard to see on camera, but from Neo Revelation, the first ever Shining Pokemon cards were the Shining Magikarp, and then my favorite card of all time, the Shining Gyarados, which this one is also a near mint 7.5 with subgrades, very strong subgrades, and this one has a very nice swirl right at the bottom if I can pick it up. Yep, right under his head. So this is another Ken Sugimori illustration. Probably my favorite card of all time. I owned this as a kid, and a funny story, I ended up trading it to a neighbor, and then I made my dad walk me back so I can trade him back because he scammed me. But I ended up giving away my childhood collection, and then by chance, through my girlfriend, I came across this card in my adult life, and I'm very fortunate. This is almost an invisible string and a very important card to me, and probably my favorite card in my collection. It's just a beautiful artwork, and Shining Gyarados, this is just a classic card. And then the remaining 5 cards, the first 3 are set, and it's the CD promos. The first one is the Venusaur. This is a Japanese promo, and if I can pick it up, this one does have Hollow Bleed, and there's a swirl right down there in the bottom of the card. So this one got the 9. Very beautiful artwork. And then my favorite of the bunch is the Charizard. This one got a mint 9 with subgrades, very strong subgrades. The only issue was the surface, but the hollow looks very, very clean on it. There might just be a nick on the back or something, but I can't find anything wrong with this card. But I picked this up locally. I paid $20 for it after trading a few cards, so I'm very happy that I picked this up when I did, and then I graded it and I got a 9. So over time I've been collecting the trio, and that leads us into the Blastoise, and this one has a very nice swirl right there. But my favorite artworks of the original trio are from these CD promos, the Ken Sugimori artworks. The Charizard is from the box art of Pokemon Red, and the Blastoise is from Pokemon Blue. Let's see if I can get these all in shot, but very fortunate to have all of these cards. Just beautiful artworks. I really do like these Japanese promo cards, because back then, back in 1998, you got these cards for free with the CD, and it's crazy how much these have grown in value, because people just didn't take care of them back in time. But I'm very happy to have all of these in a mint 9, the full set. Then another old back Japanese card, and one of my favorites, is the Korokoro Shining Mew promo. This one has a nice swirl right on the tail, if I can pick that up. This is one of the shiniest cards in my collection. I picked this up at Collecticon for a very good deal. I just think this is a super cool. You got it in the Korokoro magazine. It's a super fun story if you want to look it up. Just the way you got these cards back then was insane, but this came out in 2001, and it's a very rare card, so I picked this up at Collecticon. And I picked that up with one of my other favorite cards, which is the Gold Star Entei in a Gem Mint 10, and this one, if I can pick it up, has a swirl right on the border. There you can kind of see it. It's a little hard to pick up on camera, but this card has one of the cleanest holos I've ever seen. My favorite of the legendary dogs. So I do like the shiny version, so I decided to pick up the Gold Star Entei as my start for the Gold Stars. One of my grails is the Gold Star Torchic, which I hope to own at some point, but it's a very expensive card, so that will probably be a while in the future. But overall, a very beautiful card, and I'm very happy that I own this. I picked this and the Korokoro Mew up at Collecticon from the same guy, so shout out to him. I got a great deal. This used to be a old label 9.5, so he gave me the 9.5 price, even though I could just send it in and get it reslabbed for the 10. So I did get a pretty good steal on both of these cards, and he told me the price, shook his hand, and then I got my 2 cards, so I'm very happy I own this card. And then the final card in my collection is one of my most sentimental cards, and it's from Fossil. It's the Hypno. This one got a mint 9.5. This is probably the favorite card in my collection because at the beginning of 2024, I decided to rip my entire sealed collection. This is another reason I can't keep cards sealed, which included a Fossil pack. I had a few $1,000 worth of sealed product that I just YOLO ripped at the beginning of 2024, and in the last pack, I pulled this Hypno. And like the move says, it was the prophecy. So if you made it this far in the video, make sure to comment Hypno. And if you would like, make sure to subscribe. I'll be opening up those vintage Japanese packs in the future, as well as searching for some more packs. Prismatic Evolutions is on the cusp, so we'll be hunting for that, as well as maybe some One Piece cards. I recently got into that. But overall, this is my favorite card. The pack was light when I weighed it, and I decided to open it anyway, and it did have a holo in it, so I'm super fortunate to, in the year 2024, pull a holo card from Pokemon Fossil, and it's a very nostalgic artwork, and Ken Sugimori, my favorite artist, and like I said, it was the prophecy for me to pull this card. So if you enjoyed my full collection, make sure to leave a like, comment what your favorite card in today's video was, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.